What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another Gobots review. And again, it's going to be quick. Now, my friend Dan, otherwise known as Mantis99s, and that is 9 number 9s in his YouTube username, did a review on the Gobot Bad Boy, and on the card, he had shown this guy on the back. His name is Scratch. He is a Guardian, and Dan had said he had never seen this guy, and I said, I have this guy, he's one of my favorites from when I was little. So he said, why don't you review it? And if you haven't checked out Mantis99's or channel yet, I'm going to put a link to the Bad Boy review below, but I highly encourage you guys to check out his channel because he has a lot of great stuff in there. Just obscure stuff that you've never seen or heard of before. So let's look at this guy. And this guy was one of my favorites as a little kid for a number of reasons. Obviously, he's a little SUV, and who doesn't like little toy SUVs as a little kid? Well, a little boy kid, that is. You know, you always loved trucks, and Matchbox cars were kind of my thing when I was real little. So this Gobot having a pretty convincing truck mode was always good for me. Now, over the years, you know, he has seen some parts kind of get a little looser. He didn't have as bad of gaps when I was little, but you gotta remember that this guy suffered through many years of my childhood with me. The front still retained its chrome pretty nicely though, so he has a nice looking grille. The minor paint apps are only the windows, which I think these side ones are decals, and the back one, to be honest, so only the front was painted. Underneath is a surprisingly clean vehicle mode. You really can't see anything, well, a little if you kind of angle it right. You can't see much that shows the robot there. And it's interesting that they even put like the drive shaft detailing in, which is really something they didn't really need to do. And of course, it's focus camera. Made by Bandai, MRT 41, 1984, Japan. So let's actually go to transform this guy. And this guy has a real interesting transformation that was really, in my opinion, kind of ahead of its time. It had a very interesting transformation scheme that you didn't see too much in the time. When most things were fold out and pull out the arms, this guy was completely different, and I appreciate that. So what you start by doing is taking his legs and you split the back like this, and you have to take them and make a T like that. Then you're gonna flip this whole assembly, and then you can rotate them down and into place. And that there is just, that's something that you don't see. I mean, you see it on Transformers now, like simple transformation things like that. He's still limited in articulation, but that's just neat that something so early had that. You're also going to do another common thing that happens now. Rotate his waist so it's facing forwards like that. And now you got his legs and his waist there. Now move this up a little. All you need to do is split the top and just kind of let that fold down. And you'll see that mine, he's pretty loose over time. But that's okay. I can probably fix him up and make him okay. But whatever, you get the idea. And then the last thing you do is rotate his head on down and around. It'll actually push into the crease in the back here so he's not looking down. And there you go. You've got Scratch. And he is just a cool little Gobot. He is pretty much everything I love about Gobots. He was easy to transform. He looks good, in my opinion, in both modes. You're not getting a whole ton of articulation out of him, obviously. You can kind of get his arms around 360 if you mess with it. It does get hung up a little, but it happens. Up and down, and then you can kind of spread his legs. You can get, I guess, a wider leg stance out of him because of the way his legs transform, which does give him, I guess, some form of a dynamic pose for a toy from the 80s. I'll just try to position that just like that so you get the full effect of what he looks like. And I think I've used this guy when I was little. He kind of filled in for a couple Transformers here and there once in a while, even though he was pretty small. But I like him. And let's just get a little close-up of his face right there so you can see that. He's got a nice little face, nothing too fancy. Little mouth sculpted in. It's not too bad paintwork though, considering, you know, all things considered, he has a better paint job than most modern toys. So, that's kinda cool. But, yeah. So this is Scratch. He exists. And he's pretty cool. If you find him for relatively cheap, I would say pick him up if you're into old robots. Because he is probably one of the better Gobots out there. So, this is T2RX6, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you didn't check out the Arco Rogun review, check that out. I did 2 reviews this week. Yeah, check them out. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments below, and I'll see you guys next week.